The rabbit, who wanted to touch the moon. Once upon a time, in a quiet meadow surrounded by tall grass and fireflies, lived a curious little rabbit named Milo. Every night, Milo would look up at the big, glowing moon. He loved how it hung high in the sky, smiling down at the earth. "I want to touch the moon," Milo whispered to himself one night. His friend, Sparrow, Hedgehog, and Squirrel laughed gently. "You're too small, Milo," Sparrow said. "No rabbit has ever touched the moon," added Hedgehog. But Milo's heart was filled with determination. The next evening, he began stacking stones, one on top of the other, hoping to climb closer. But the stones tumbled down. He tried jumping as high as he could, but still, the moon was far away. Tired, Milo lay in the meadow, ears drooping. That's when the moon itself spoke in a soft, glowing voice. "Why are you trying so hard to reach me, little rabbit?" Milo's eyes widened. "Because you are so beautiful, and I want to hold your light in my paws." The moon chuckled kindly. "My light already shines on you every night. You don't need to touch me to feel it. Look around." Milo gazed at the meadow. The grass shimmered silver, the fireflies danced brighter, and his friends gathered beside him. All of it glowed under the moon's light. "See," the moon whispered, "you already carry my glow in your heart." From that night on, Milo no longer tried to reach the moon. Instead, he sat happily with his friends, knowing that sometimes the most magical things are meant to be admired, not held. And every evening, when the moon rose high, Milo smiled, feeling its light wrap around him like a gentle hug. The Little Fox and the Lost Berries. In a quiet forest filled with tall pine trees, there lived a little fox named Ruby. Ruby loved berries more than anything else. Every morning, she would run to her favorite bush and fill her paws with sweet, juicy berries. One sunny day, when Ruby reached the bush, she was shocked it was empty. Not a single berry was left. Her ears drooped, and her tail dragged on the ground. "Where will I find berries now?" she wondered. As Ruby searched, she noticed her friend, a tiny mouse named Pip, carrying a small handful of berries. Pip looked worried. "Why are you sad, Pip?" Ruby asked. "My little sister is sick," Pip explained softly. "She hasn't eaten in days. I'm trying to bring her some berries, but I don't have enough." Ruby's heart felt warm. She realized the missing berries from her bush had helped Pip's sister. Instead of being angry, she smiled. "Come with me," Ruby said. "I know another place." Together, they walked deeper into the forest. Ruby remembered an old tree stump where berries sometimes grew. Sure enough, the bush was full of ripe, red berries. Ruby picked a few and handed the rest to Pip. "Take these to your sister," Ruby said kindly. "She needs them more than I do." Pip's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Ruby. You're the best friend ever." That evening, as Ruby curled up under the stars, her belly was only half full, but her heart was overflowing. She had learned that sharing made her feel richer than any pile of berries ever could. And from then on, whenever Ruby found berries, she always thought of Pip and the joy of giving. The brave little turtle. Deep in a sparkling blue pond lived a tiny turtle named Tycho. He loved swimming slowly near the water, lilies, and basking in the warm sunshine. But there was one thing: Tycho was afraid of leaving the pond. Every day, his friends, the frogs, leaped to the meadow, and the dragonflies flew far across the grass. "Come with us, Tycho," they called. But Tycho always shook his head. "The world outside is too big," he whispered. "I'm safe here in the water." One afternoon, a strong wind blew through the forest. A baby bird had fallen from its nest onto the bank of the pond. The little bird chirped helplessly, unable to fly back up. Tycho's heart pounded. Someone must help. But the frogs were too small to lift the bird, and the dragonflies could only buzz above. Tycho realized it was up to him. "I've never left the pond before," Tycho said nervously, "but maybe today is the day." Slowly, with shaky legs, Tycho climbed out of the water. His shell felt heavy, and the ground was rough beneath his feet. Step by step, he crawled to the frightened bird. "Climb onto my shell," Tycho said gently. The bird hopped on, clanging with tiny claws. With all his strength, Tycho carried the bird back to the tree where its nest waited. Just then, the wind calmed and the bird's mother fluttered down, chirping happily. She lifted her baby and tucked it safely back into the nest. "You did it, Tycho," the frogs cheered. The dragonflies danced in the air. Tycho smiled, his fear melting away. "The world outside the pond isn't as scary as I thought. Sometimes being brave means trying, even when you're afraid." From that day on, Tycho wasn't just a little turtle in the pond. He was the brave turtle who discovered that courage can carry you further than fear ever will. The starfish, who wanted to dance far beneath the gentle waves of the ocean, lived a little starfish named Stella. Stella loved the rhythm of the sea. When the water swayed back and forth, she wished she could dance like the dolphins or swirl like the seahorses. But whenever she tried, her tiny arms just wiggled slowly. "I'll never dance like them," she sighed. One evening, a crab scuttled past. "Why do you look so sad, Stella?" "I want to dance," Stella said softly, "but I can't move like the others." The crab thought for a moment. "But you do dance, Stella. Look at the way the waves lift you, the way the sand sparkles when you move. You just haven't noticed it yet." Stella watched carefully. As the waves carried her gently, her arms spread wide, swaying with the ocean's song. Tiny fish gathered around, fascinated by the way she shimmered under the sunlight that trickled through the water. "Maybe I really am dancing," Stella whispered happily. From then on, Stella no longer compared herself to the dolphins or seahorses. She discovered that her own gentle sway was a dance of its own, a quiet, beautiful rhythm only a starfish could create. And every time the tide rose, Stella twirled with joy, knowing the sea itself was her partner. The cloud who learned to share high above the mountains floated a fluffy white cloud named Nimbus. Nimbus loved being full and puffy. He collected as much water as he could, growing bigger and rounder each day. "Look how grand I am," Nimbus boasted to the other clouds. But soon, Nimbus grew so heavy that he felt tired. Below him, the fields were dry, and the flowers drooped sadly. The rivers whispered, "We need rain." Nimbus frowned. "But if I share my water, I won't be big and strong anymore." Then he noticed a small girl in the village below, carrying a wilted flower in her hands. She looked up at Nimbus and whispered, "Please, cloud, give us rain." Something stirred in Nimbus's heart. With a deep breath, he released his water, letting it fall gently as raindrops. The earth soaked it in gratefully. The flowers lifted their heads, the rivers danced, and the little girl smiled brightly. Nimbus felt lighter than ever before. To his surprise, he wasn't weaker. He was happier. "Ah," Nimbus realized, "sharing doesn't make me smaller. It makes the world brighter." From then on, Nimbus reigned with joy whenever the earth needed him. And every rainbow that followed reminded him that giving was the most beautiful thing a cloud could do. The curious little owl in the heart of the whispering woods lived a tiny owl named Oliver. Unlike other owls, Oliver didn't like staying awake only at night. He was curious about everything: the sunshine, the butterflies, even the sound of children laughing in the distant village. One day, Oliver decided he wanted to see the world during daylight. His mother warned him gently, Daytime is bright and busy, my little one. Are you sure you're ready?" But Oliver's golden eyes sparkled with excitement. "Yes, Mama, I want to learn." When the sun rose, Oliver flew out of the tree. At first, the light was so strong that he squinted, but soon he began to see the wonders of the day, glittering streams, blooming flowers, and bees buzzing from petal to petal. He perched on a fence and watched children play. They noticed him and whispered, "Look, a baby owl." Instead of being afraid, the children smiled and waved. Oliver hooted shyly. By the time evening came, Oliver was tired but happy. He returned to his mother, who tucked him under her wing. "Now you see, little one," she said softly, "the world has many sides. Night and day both have their magic." Oliver yawned. "I love the stars at night, but I also love the sun in the morning. I think I'll explore both." And so, Oliver became the owl who embraced the whole world, finding beauty in both the quiet nights and the busy days. The whale, who sang alone far across the endless ocean, swam a young whale named Luna. She loved singing, but her voice was different from the others. While most whales sang deep, booming songs, Luna's song was soft, high, and gentle. When she tried to join the others, they laughed kindly. "Your voice is too different, Luna. Stay quiet." Luna swam away sadly. She sang to herself, her melodies floating unheard through the water. But one lonely night, her song drifted farther than ever before, across miles of sea. Far away, a dolphin pod was searching for home, lost in the dark waters. They heard Luna's gentle tune and followed it. Her song guided them safely back to the reef. The dolphins leaped with joy and surrounded Luna. "Your voice is beautiful. It led us home." Soon, other sea creatures gathered to listen. Tiny fish, crabs, even shy turtles swayed to her song. The whales, who once dismissed her, swam closer, realizing how unique and powerful her voice truly was. Luna beamed. "I thought my voice didn't matter, but it did." From then on, Luna sang with pride. Her melodies filled the ocean, reminding everyone that being different can sometimes be the very thing that makes you special. The Garden of Forgotten Seeds. At the edge of a small village stood an abandoned garden. Weeds grew tall, and the soil was cracked. Most people had forgotten it even existed, except for a little boy named Eli. One spring morning, Eli wandered into the garden and found a dusty wooden box. Inside were dozens of tiny seeds. Each one looked old and dull. "These can't grow," Eli thought. Still, he decided to try. Every day, Eli watered the soil and whispered stories to the seeds. "You're going to be beautiful," he told them. Weeks passed, and nothing happened. Some villagers laughed. "Why waste your time?" they said. But Eli didn't give up. He believed in the seeds, even when no one else did. One morning, small green shoots pushed through the soil. Eli clapped his hands with joy. Day by day, the shoots grew taller. Flowers bloomed in colors brighter than any the village had ever seen: violet, gold, crimson, and blue. Soon, the garden was alive with butterflies, bees, and singing birds. Villagers who once laughed came to admire the beauty. They asked Eli how he made it happen. "I just believed in them," Eli said with a smile. Sometimes, the smallest things grow into the greatest wonders when given love and patience. The garden became a magical place where children played, families gathered, and hope blossomed. And Eli knew the forgotten seeds were never truly forgotten. They had only been waiting for someone to believe. The lantern and the firefly. In a quiet village stood an old lantern that hung by the gate. Every night, it lit up the path so people could walk safely. But one day, its candle burned out, and no one replaced it. The lantern felt useless and forgotten. I was made to shine, it whispered sadly. Nearby, a little firefly named Fira fluttered by. She noticed the lantern's drooping frame and asked, "Why are you so gloomy?" "I can't glow anymore," sighed the lantern. "I'm too old," Fira thought for a moment. "What if I share my light with you?" She flew inside the lantern and began glowing. The lantern sparkled again, brighter than ever. That night, villagers smiled when they saw the glowing gate. "The lantern is alive again," they cheered. The lantern felt warm with joy. "Thank you, Fira. Alone, I was dark, but together we shine." From then on, the firefly and the lantern became partners, proving that even the smallest light can bring life to the biggest dreams. The little river who found the sea, high in the mountains, a small river trickled between rocks. Her name was Rilla. She loved her valley, but often wondered, "Is this all there is for me?" One day, Rilla asked the mountains, "Where do I go?" "Follow your path," they rumbled kindly. So Rilla flowed down hills, through forests and fields. Along the way, she gave water to thirsty deer, nourished flowers, and filled ponds where children played. But Rilla still longed for something greater. "I feel small," she sighed. At last, after a long journey, Rilla reached the wide, endless sea. She gasped as her waters merged with the waves. "I am part of something so much bigger." The sea whispered, "You were never small. Every step of your journey gave life. And now, you belong to the whole world." Rilla sparkled under the sun, proud of her adventure. She had discovered that even the tiniest streams can lead to something vast and beautiful.